everybody, and welcome back to another video here on my channel. I hope y'all are having a good one. Today I want to kind of go over some important things in Lightroom. In my opinion, the best tool that Lightroom has, and I feel like it's come a long ways. Technically, you do not have to pay a subscription to edit photos for photography and for them to look good, but I will say I just recently started paying a yearly subscription for Lightroom, and it is one of the best things so far because this tool, you either need a free trial or to pay a subscription, and it is a very valuable tool. These edits are very simple. I didn't go all crazy. I also didn't use any presets. I just edited them similar to basically how they looked in real life, and or at least to my eye, and I tried to keep them very natural looking. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. The first photo that I edited was one of the most recent ones that I took while we went to Mount Charleston here in Nevada. A lot of people say it's in Las Vegas, but it's technically its own place. It is a big mountain range. There are skiing in the winter time, and it was like a home away from home. It made me feel so happy to go there because I am not from the deserts in Nevada. So I was very happy when we went there. It's just a simple photo, and a lot of these photos from Mount Charleston, I do have a YouTube video that I can link at the end of this video and in the description and also up at the top of this video. But a lot of those photos, we were actually in our Ford Focus ST, and I was sitting passenger. We were probably driving anywhere from 20 to probably around 50, I think at the most, miles an hour. So some of these are a little blurry, not in the best shots, and I think if I would have had a tripod or if I just would have been standing still, they would have looked better. But this first one I love so much. I did kind of go ahead and straighten it first. I also cropped it how I wanted. I felt like there was a lot at the bottom, and I knew for the most part I wanted the actual mountain itself, like the big rocks, to be the main focus, and I wanted a little bit of the sky because often on this day it was either super sunny or it was raining. So some of these photos have a really dramatic and rainy type gray sky with really nice clouds, and then some other ones, like this one in particular, has soft subtle clouds that fill the whole sky but a blue sky. So I did want to go ahead and start with that. So favorite tool overall that I feel like is the most helpful is the masking tool, and I feel like it does a pretty good job at selecting the sky, and then also I automatically select the sky and invert it if my photo has a sky. I will say I am not the best photographer. I also don't know how to edit on Lightroom fully, and I always use an iPad, but that's because, like I said, I didn't pay a subscription and I just recently am, so I'm learning a lot, and I feel like I've learned a lot more. But this is the photo where I really figured out how to use it more, and I know I still have a lot more to go, but I wanted to just dehaze a little bit and also bring up the clarity, bring down the texture, and then I hopped into the color section. I kind of played with the color of the sky, and then I toned it down to where it was a more muted blue. Then in the light section, I just kind of played around a little bit, and like I said, I didn't use the tone curve at all. I don't know why, I totally forgot, but since this is more simple type edits, I wanted to keep it very, very simple. With the actual inverted sky, which would be all of the land, I decided to turn up the exposure. I want to try and always make those subjects pop off the background, and the way that I mainly have started to do this, especially with landscape, is by turning up the exposure and then also turning the dehaze up a little bit so that it's a separation but not too dramatic to where it looks weird. I then just start playing around. I always like to bring up my clarity, but for the most part I like to turn down my texture, and also with the noise slider bring that up to where it kind of softens it, but it also still, you can get some of that clarity with it. I don't also move my sliders a lot. I know a lot of photographers will move crazily from one side to the other. I honestly don't do that. So here I'm just kind of messing around. I go into the color section. See me kind of do a little bit of coloring, and then afterwards I do get out of the masking tool and go into the color section, messing around with the color mix, mainly for the blue. For the first time, I used to try and mess with this, but I honestly have not ever messed with color grading. So in this video I did try this out. I don't know how much it worked out. I didn't know for the first couple images I used it on about the saturation and everything else. I couldn't find it at the time, so you see me mainly just mess with the luminous. So here I am just sliding everything around, messing around with the shadows, highlights, and midtones, seeing what I kind of like. I was kind of figuring it out for a little bit. One of my last favorite things to do, especially with landscape photography, is I like to take another gradient for the masking. This one is a linear. Bring it up and make it like dramatic. You can kind of see in the photo when I do this that there were already clouds casting shadows, but it wasn't as easy to tell compared to in real life and then also when I did this, and I feel like this just kind of helps make your photo look a little bit better. Here is the before image, here is the after image. This next photo was of a macro shot of a bee. I do not have an actual macro lens. I can't remember the name brand of it, but I do have a small macro lens that screws onto the end of one of my kit lenses. I'm pretty sure it's like the 18 to 55, I do believe. I only use that lens now when it comes to macro, but this image, I started off by making all the different types of masks that I wanted. I knew I wanted one specifically on the bee, and it did a really good job at getting the bee and a little bit of the flower that it was on. I also inverted that so that I could do the whole background, and then I, for the most part, went ahead and played around out of the mask tool. I went around and played with the color mix, getting it exactly where I wanted it. And then inside masking, again, I did mess around for the background with the exposure and everything in the light section, just messing around, seeing what I kind of liked, what I didn't like. And I went over to color and also wanted to make it a little bit different of a tint, but also not so saturated. Same thing with the effects and details. I just kind of slide the noise and also the clarity and everything around. I then switched to the bee, and on the flower, that mask where it was just one hole, and I kind of bump up the exposure, of course touch the dehaze, and then I go through and mess around a little bit. Nothing too crazy. This one I wanted to be very, very simple, just going from a green type photo to more of a orange-ish, but not too much messing around with the bee, except for bringing it more into focus. One of the final things I did was I did crop it, and I wasn't so sure how I wanted to crop it. I was trying to do more of like the rule of thirds, and then I actually opted with it more just kind of in the middle, just because it looked weird, like there wasn't enough in the foreground or just around. It was just too much dead space. So I wasn't sure how to crop it, and this is what I ended with. I did go into the color grading afterwards and messed around. Like I said, I didn't know what I was doing, so a lot of this I just reset back to 0 and left it alone for the most part. Eventually I hope I will get much better at doing all this, but this is a good example of simple editing. Here's the bee before, and then here's the bee after. I feel like that looks so much better. Those were the few photos that I picked out for this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Like I said, these were very simple edits, and I didn't want to go too crazy. I wanted to keep it very calm, very simple, and very much close to what you would see in real life, and also how it looked with the raw image. I know I'm not the best, and I still have a lot to learn, but I feel like these videos are kind of cool to make, to see over time how much I went from not knowing anything about Lightroom to hopefully in the next few months to a couple years I know a lot more, and especially since I only edit on an iPad, so Lightroom Mobile is also very awesome to use, but I'm sure if I would eventually start editing on the desktop, I feel like maybe it would be a lot better. Maybe one day, but for right now, I feel like it's really nice to see my growth through my YouTube videos. If you like this video, make sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Stay in touch with me and my YouTube channel. I'm trying to transition more to only photography and vehicle related videos because those are my favorites, and I feel like I'm getting burnt out on all the other ones that I've tried doing. If this was a good video, or if you have any constructive criticism, make sure to leave it down in the comments. Let me know. I hope to see y'all next week, and God bless.